This one's for all the men out there who work all day, come home, and just want to drink a cold beer. I haven't drank a beer in 5 years. I'll never drink Anheuser-Busch again in my life. So cheers to all the beers out there, but fuck Bud Light. God, that's good.
First, it was F. Joe Biden. Now it's F. Bud Light. Their trans activist campaign has awakened a sleeping giant that we're going to see is even now reshaping our politics for the foreseeable future. A future that promises to see the end, the silencing of the woke left once and for all. The boycott against Bud Light continues, and it appears to be growing by the day. It's frankly bigger than anyone imagined. It's clearly touched on something in the heartland of America, and it appears to have done nothing less than awaken a sleeping giant. The sales figures are in, gang, and they're devastating. Bud Light has decreased in every category. They've decreased by nearly 10% in sales, over 10% in volume, and nearly 4% in dollar share. And that's just in the first week of the boycott before things really started taking off. By contrast, their competitors, Coors Light, Miller Lite, they both saw gains in each of the three categories. And you can see it in the stock numbers. The red is Molson Coors stock, which has surged since the controversy, while Bud Light, the blue, has taken an obvious hit. So right now as we speak, the boycott is working. Rasmussen found that 40% of Americans and nearly 60% of Republicans said that they're now less likely to buy Bud Light due to their trans activism. It's no wonder that you have these reactions from country music star Brantley Gilbert going viral after someone threw him a can of Bud Light on stage and he smashed it. His reaction was priceless and the audience went nuts. And Brantley's being joined by a chain of restaurants in Florida called Grills Restaurants. The owner has announced they will no longer be serving Bud Light due to the beer offending their traditional Christian values. And as we saw in the charts, other beer manufacturers are, of course, enjoying the schadenfreude of Bud Light's misfortunes. Yuengling appeared to have taken a bit of a subtle jab, kicking the company when it's down with their tweet, quote, Yuengling, the oldest brewery in America, independently owned and family operated since 1829 because we make good beer. We're not here to indoctrinate you. We're here to serve you. That's our job. We're not ideological zealots using our business to promote the fanaticism of woke CEOs. We're here to serve you with the best beer we're capable of brewing. So yes, I think that was a perfectly timed tweet to differentiate a good old-fashioned American beer with the woke disaster that is Anheuser-Busch. But analysts are beginning to realize that what's happening here goes way beyond Bud Light. Something much bigger than a mere boycott is awakening here, and you're going to be amazed as to what it is. Actually, what's happening was once summarized perfectly with this.
I'll be back.
That's right. He'll be back, and we will all be back. It is time, gang, to celebrate the great return by clicking on the link below and getting your very own Trumpinator 2024 bobblehead in preparation for Donald Trump's glorious reascendance to the United States presidency. I mean, look at this, gang. I've got mine, and I absolutely love it. This collectible bobblehead from Proud Patriots is made with the highest quality material and really is a must-have for any Trump fan who wants to send some energy towards what is shaping up to be the most glorious political comeback in history. Now, don't wait. There's just a limited number of these collectibles, and you don't want to be caught paying way more later on eBay when someone else bought it now sells it. So whatever you do, don't wait. Click on that link below right now and show your support for Trump 2024 today. Pundits are realizing that this backlash against Bud Light and transgenderism is indeed in the process of awakening a possible political tsunami. And what that means is it's not just beer companies that may get overturned here, but the Democrats and entrenched liberals as well. This is because Biden and the Democrats are thoroughly siding with Bud Light in their unabashed support of trans activism. They're putting themselves in the same position as Bud Light has. It's a fascinating development because, unlike, for example, gay rights, trans activism is actually causing a number of prominent liberals to switch sides and stand up with the conservative backlash. You may have seen this of late with Piers Morgan and Bill Maher and their clash with the ultra-left Democrat Katie Porter over the female swimmer Riley Gaines, who's heroically standing up against trans athletes in female sports.
Gaines, who I disagree with strongly, should be
What do you disagree with, out of interest?
I think that it should be up to sporting bodies to make the decisions about who and
What
how
has she
should
said
compete.
that's actually wrong?
I think that what she has done is try to turn this. We talked about people, using things to kind of get likes and get clicks.
That's not what she's doing.
It's
I mean,
not?
I've got no truck for Riley Gaines personally, but all I've seen her do is stand up for women's rights to fairness and equality.
Well,
She actually competed against Leah Thomas, and it was obviously unfair. Leah Thomas won one of the races in the NCAA championships by 50 seconds against a bunch of biological females who simply couldn't keep up. That cannot be right. It cannot be fair.
That is something that I think our sporting bodies should be dealing with. And by the way, Riley is speaking up for herself, and that is her prerogative, and I respect her free speech.
I think she's speaking up for pretty much every female athlete in the world.
I mean, wasn't that the point of Title IX? Title IX in the early 70s was something that was it was a major event in feminism, that we finally have this law that says at colleges, right, and I think high schools too, but definitely colleges, women's sports have to be given equal to men's sports, so that women aren't and this led to the WNBA and lots of other stuff. This seems to be the opposite of that. It seems to be so many instances, I think, where wokeness is the opposite of what I grew up as liberalism. Liberalism was, let's give the women an equal shot. This is let's put a male in the swimming pool with the women. I don't get it.
It's crazy. And meanwhile, trans people who genuinely want to compete at athletics and swimming or whatever it may be, they're the ones who are suffering here. They need to be found a way to compete fairly and justly.
Well, what's your answer then?
I think there's one or two answers. I think they either compete against their biological sex, as many of them did before, or you create an entirely new category for a transgender athlete. And then
now, again, what you got to get there is that Democrat, that nut, was being assailed by two liberals, two self-identified liberals, who think this whole trans infatuation's insane. You see, this issue, this trans issue, has the capacity of realizing an enormous political realignment precisely because it's assaulting the fairness and equality that liberals, particularly classical liberals, are just so concerned about. What we're seeing here is a clash inside the political left between the competing values of fairness on the one hand and inclusion on the other. So for female sports, some are going to err on the side of fairness and thus ban trans athletes from competing, but others are going to err on the side of inclusion and thus, in effect, guarantee the end of women's sports. So what you just saw, there was a clash within the political left between classical liberals who advocate fairness and equality and the woke left who demand inclusion and equity. This is part of the silent giant that's awakening all across the country. It's a political realignment of the whole of the right and half of the left to end, to crush, and silence the woke left once and for all. As always, make sure to smack that bell and subscribe button. You'll definitely want to check out my latest video on social critic Camille Paglia and how she sees this transgender mania as a sign of cultural collapse, but not just collapse, a conquering as well. You're going to love that. So make sure to click on the link, and I'll see you over there. God bless.